Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of No Huddle with Zach Arndt. And today we have part 2 to our most underrated players heading into the 2022 college football season. These are guys I think that are under the radar, not getting the recognition they deserve. They have all the talent in the world. They could have been a highly rated recruit coming out of high school, and I think this is the year that they break onto the scene. Starting off at number 1, we have Cameron Ward, the transfer from Incarnate Word to Washington State. He's a quarterback. Last year he lit it up. At the FCS level, he threw for 47 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 4,600 yards. Heading to Washington State in a very pass-heavy offense, there's no doubt this kid's going to light up the stat sheet for the Cougars. The only problem is talent around him. That's probably the only question that I have heading into 2022 for Cameron Ward. I think he's going to win the starting job, no question. They lost Jaden Delora, so I think all hands on deck with Cameron Ward up at Washington State. Some realistic expectations, I don't think he's going to be throwing for the numbers he did last year. But some realistic numbers are probably 4,000 passing yards, maybe 38, 40 touchdowns, a couple picks. I don't think he's going to throw 10 interceptions again. I think that was just part of last year. He was just throwing it all over the field, playing at lower level competition. So I think he's made for a big season up there, playing against Pac-12 defenses every week. I mean, there are some elite defenses in the conference, but not every single one. He's going to be primed for a good year. Next up at number 2, we have my man, JT Tuamaloa, defensive end, Ohio State. One of my favorite players in the 2021 class. Just like Corey Foreman, he was a 5-star D lineman. He was right behind Corey. He was number 2 in the nation. He's 6'4", 280 pounds. He did not play a lot last year. He did get a good amount of reps in 11 games. His stats for last year: 7 solo tackles, 17 total, 4.5 for loss, and then 3.5 sacks. Looking forward to 2022, JT is going to be the starter, I believe, on the D-line. Everyone's talking about Zach Harrison. It's all been about Zach Harrison these last couple of years, but there's going to come a point when you're going to have to stop talking about Zach Harrison when JT Tuamaloa is the leader on that D-line. Coach Larry Johnson is going to get him right heading into the season. They got a big test against Notre Dame in Week 1. That could be the start of it right there, Week 1. Breakout season for JT. Notre Dame lost a lot on the O-line. They do have some studs at tackle, though. JT, that's not going to be too much for him. Some realistic expectations for JT. I think he'll exceed 10 sacks. I'd put a number on about 12 total sacks, maybe 15.5 tackles for loss, maybe 16. I think he's going to get the nod and start over Jack Sawyer, opposite of Zach Harrison, and that D-line is going to be very good. Under new defensive coordinator Jim Knowles, I think JT is primed for a big season in Columbus. Next up, coming in at number 3 on the list, we have Troy Franklin, wide receiver for the Oregon Ducks. He was a freshman last year, 5-star in the 2021 recruiting class. And last season, he recorded 18 catches for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, you're probably looking at those numbers and wondering why he's on the most underrated list if he really didn't do anything last year. Part of that was playing time, and he played in an offense that ran the ball the majority of the time. In the Alamo Bowl against Oklahoma, second half, the offense opened up and they started throwing the ball a lot more. Troy Franklin, along with Dante Thornton, they really started to show why they were highly rated receivers in 2021. Troy Franklin was the 3rd best receiver in his class, 5-star out of California. Going into this year, new head coach Dan Lanning, whole new offense, whole new staff. You got Bo Nix coming in at quarterback. They're going to be throwing it all over the yard, I feel like. Watching that spring game, they're airing it out a lot more than last year. And Troy's got all the ability in the world. Some realistic expectations for him. I think he could get 800 to 900 receiving yards, maybe 9, 10 touchdowns. He's going to be in a loaded receiving room. A lot of young guys, a lot of guys with the same talent. About 8 or 9 guys in that room right now. There's a lot of guys in that receiver room, but Troy's going to take full advantage of the opportunity when he has it, and he's primed for a big season for the Ducks up in Eugene. And at number 4, we have Cedric Tillman, wide receiver from Tennessee. And you're going to talk about improvement and having a breakout season in 2021. Cedric Tillman did just that. He went from 60 yards in 2019, 67 yards in 2020. And in 2021, when he got a big opportunity, a big role in the offense, 64 catches, 1,081 yards, and 12 touchdowns. I think those numbers are going to take a big jump heading into 2022. Tennessee's going to air it out. Josh Heupel in that offense, led by Hendon Hooker. They love to throw the football. Cedric Tillman's got the speed. He's got a very good frame for a receiver. He's 6'3", 215 pounds, so a bigger dude. He's got a lot of muscle, yards after the catch type of guy, along with that deep threat ability. Some realistic expectations for him. He's going to go over 1,000 yards again. I'd say 1,400 on about 80 catches. I think he'll get about 15 or 16 touchdowns. Tennessee's got all the weapons in the world, and Cedric Tillman is one of those. They might just have one of the best offenses in the country, maybe the best in the SEC, and we're going to have to find out. I think Cedric Tillman's going to have a big role in that. Our fifth and final player on the list is Will Shipley, running back for the Clemson Tigers. He's 5'11", 200 pounds. He was a true freshman in 2021. In the 2022 recruiting class, he was a 5-star, number 2 all-purpose back, only behind TreVeyon Henderson. Will Shipley, as a freshman, ran for 739 yards on 149 attempts with 11 touchdowns, averaged about 5 yards a carry. Then out of the backfield, he had 16 catches, 116 yards for 7.5 yards per catch average. Total scrimmage yards, he had 855 as a true freshman, which is pretty crazy. He also had some experience in the kick and punt return. On kick returns, he had 14 returns for 380 yards and a 27 average, which led all freshmen in the ACC. Will Shipley is one of those guys who can do it all out of the backfield for you. He's very powerful, can run inside the tackles. You can also take it outside. He's got the speed to get the edge. I think he'll be their main kick returner this year. Maybe see him at punt returner. He'll be up there for most scrimmage yards in college football in my predictions. I also predict him to be in the top 5 for the Doak Walker Award at the end of the season. I think there are a couple running backs better than him. You got guys like Bijan Robinson, TreVeyon Henderson, Deuce Vaughn, and Braylon Allen. But Will Shipley's right there with those guys. And if it wasn't for TreVeyon Henderson last year in 2021, Will Shipley probably would have been the best true freshman running back in the country. Some realistic stats and expectations for Will Shipley this year. He's going to go over 1,000 yards, probably 15 to 20 touchdowns rushing. I think he's going to be a big factor out of the backfield in the passing game. Maybe 30 to 45 catches, which seems like a lot, but he's got the talent. You want to get the ball in your playmaker's hands, and Will Shipley's a playmaker for the Clemson Tigers. They really lacked that on offense last year around DJ. Will Shipley's going to give them the ability to throw it to the backside of the backfield. I think he can rack up about 5 touchdowns on the receiving end, go over 1,500 scrimmage yards on the year. Maybe sneak a punt return or a kick return in there for a touchdown as well. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I hope you all have a great day. I'll catch you in the next one.